Hello everybody, I'm Thomas, and welcome back to another video. This time doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a recap video of my Gen Con experience this past weekend. So in my recent video of anticipated games for Gen Con, I talked about that I was going to Gen Con, and that happened this last weekend. I had a blast, and I figured I would go over some of the stuff I did throughout the weekend. I'll try to touch base on most of the stuff I did. I try to take videos along the way, and then at the end, I'll be back here to talk about the games that I was most anticipated to demo and buy, and I'll kind of go through each of them in a real quick manner to just talk about whether I did get to buy them or try them, whether they were there, and just my general thoughts on each of them. So the trip begins with the drive down to Indianapolis. I rode down with my dad, and it was about a two and a half hour drive for us, so it wasn't too bad. We left early in the morning, wasn't too much traffic as we headed to the hotel right downtown. We have a great view of the little center area of the city, which was really cool, and it was just great being downtown compared to last year. The hotel was not downtown. We had to Uber and Lyft to get from the convention center to the hotel. So next was to head to the convention center to pick up tickets and badges for Will Call, which should be a pretty short line, but ended up going all the way outside, wrapping around the building. It was hot. It was the first thing we had to do. It wasn't the most fun. It took like an hour to get through, but it was what it was, and I was excited to finally get into the vendor hall and start checking out some cool games. So the first game I decided to check out was this Colonial Marines Aliens game, which was really fun. Wasn't on my list to check out, but it was a fun little one to try. Didn't end well for my character Hicks. You can see his little area here. He got swarmed by a bunch of aliens, died, and then everybody else just kind of barricaded the dead body in there. After that, I went to the booth to check out the Apex Legends board game, which they had all set up there. So I got a little brief talk through, and I got to ask some questions and see the game set up all there, seeing all the cool upgrades, the cool heroes and legends and all of that. I'm really excited to try that game out. Next up was the Pocket Paragons demo, which was really fun, really quick, and definitely made me want to pick up the game. So I grabbed that Origins box and was on my way. Next up was Pampero. This game is big and it looks great. It has a lot of cool little systems, and didn't get to demo it, just got an overview, but man, this looks like a pretty fun game. Later on that evening, I had the Dice Tower Gaming Awards, which was such a fun show. It was really cool seeing all the Dice Tower people there in person and just hearing all of the different games and awards they were giving out for stuff like solo games. And what was cool is Turing Machine won an award, which was very cool. I love Turing Machine getting some recognition. I think it's a great game and deserves all the praise it got. So that was the last event for day one, and on to the next day. The next day, one of my first events was going to this panel with Travis McElroy talking about how to be good at RPGs. Was a really great panel. Glad I went. Got to even ask a question at the end about his thoughts on solo RPGs, which was pretty cool. But yeah, overall was a great time. After that was back to the demo hall where I was gonna try to find Dead Cells, and all I found was this glass case with the non-final game prototype. The game looks cool, and I was really looking forward to trying it, so I was kind of bummed just seeing it there in a glass case, but at least I did get to see it in person. But yeah, unfortunately, I did not get to try it out. Next up, I stopped by the booth to check out Ascendancy, the 4X lightweight game, and this game looks really cool. Didn't get a chance to actually demo it and play it, but got a brief overview. I got to look at some of the boards and components and all that stuff. It looks pretty neat. Now on to Saturday, and man, I got there when the vendor hall opened and you could see how absolutely packed it was. I didn't want to try to get in there at the moment. I just wanted to kind of sight watch and just watch all the people and the madness, and it was quite fun. Just seeing the absolute insanity and just how packed it was quite fun to watch, and just it was nice not being down there that time. And so after that, I just went inside, started demoing some new stuff, and next up was Galactic Cruise, and this was really great to demo. I went to the open gaming area and demoed it with two other people. One of the designers was there, and I was getting a demo from someone else. I'm forgetting their name, which I apologize, but it was a really fun demo. I got to a good explanation that we actually played for a solid 45 minutes at least, because we went way over the demo time. But yeah, the game art is still not finalized, but the box art is. I think the box art looks great. I'm really excited to see what the final game art looks like. Next up was Express Route, and I did a demo of this. I got to actually stop by and play for a bit. It was a cool game, and I did enjoy it, but I didn't feel like there was enough there for me to pick it up, so I ended up just kind of passing on that. And that about wraps up all the video I had and stuff to talk about. I had an absolute blast this year. Last year was my first year going, and it was great, but definitely overwhelming, and it was just kind of a year of kind of figuring things out. This year, had a hotel downtown, had a better idea of what was going on. Still have a lot to learn about the convention itself and kind of what I need to do for next year about planning and whatnot, but I had an absolute blast and am so looking forward to next year. All right, so that was all the videos I took and me kind of just talking over all of that stuff. So now I'll quickly do a recap of the games I was anticipated to demo and buy, and whether I was able to demo or buy them, and if I did, why or why not, and all of that good stuff. So starting with number 10 game to demo was 20 Strong. I went by the Chip Theory booth. It was not there. They lied to me. They said it was gonna be demoed, and it wasn't. The one person said they did have a copy somewhere of the Solar Sentinels, and they were like, oh, if you come back tomorrow, there might be someone demoing it, but came back the next day, there was no demoing it. So 20 Strong, I unfortunately did not get to demo. Next was number 9, Apex Legends. They had a booth, which they had the game set up, and I had some video of that. They did have some actual demos in the stadium. Unfortunately, I didn't realize they were ticketed demos, and they were all sold out by the time I had pulled up the website. But I did get to go by the booth and see the game in action, and also I popped by the stadium to watch a bit of a demo in person. So while I didn't get to demo it, I got to see it set up, and man, I'm really excited for that game. Next was Pampero. This was another game that was set up. I don't know if there was an actual playable demo available, but I did go and get a brief, like, I don't know, 10, 15 minute rules explanation overview of the game, and it looks really slick. The art looks cool. The game concept seems neat. Seems pretty complex, but seems like something I might be interested in. Next was Forges of Ravenshire, and I kind of skipped this one. I don't remember, I think I had trouble finding their booth. I don't remember if there was an exact reason I skipped them, but I didn't end up demoing that game. Number 6 was Pocket Paragons, and this one was kind of a surprise. So I went by the booth, and they had a really nice demo. This game plays really quick, like it says, and after the demo, they gave me a little starter set of 2 of the heroes, I guess, or whatever you want to call them, 2 of the characters. And I was just blown away by the game. I had such a blast in the demo, and the guy was like doing the demo was super nice. So I ended up picking up the base box, which is the Origins box, mainly because it has a solo mode. So I've been slowly playing through that. Such a fun game. I wasn't really anticipating picking it up, just trying it, but I had a blast demoing it and had to pick it up. So that was Pocket Paragons. Next was Ascendancy, and this was another game where I don't really know, I didn't ask, and that's kind of on me, if they had actual playable demos, but they did have the game set up at the booth, so I was able to go and check it out and also just kind of get a brief rules explanation and whatnot. But it seems like it's just a, 4X style game, and yeah, I got a little bit of explanation, not really too in-depth, but I always got to see it all set up and take a look at some of the components and whatnot. Looked pretty neat, and they did have a raffle going on to win the game, which unfortunately I didn't, so that was Ascendancy. Next was Cargo Empire, the pickup and delivery fantasy game. I did stop by their booth, and they had it set up in the back. I didn't get a chance to actually sit down and demo it, but I got a pretty good rules explanation from one of the employees at the booth, and I always got to see it set up and whatnot, so that looked pretty neat. Number 3 was Noobs in Space. There was no demo of this going on, but surprisingly, it was available. So I guess this was one of them that was going to be released at Gen Con. I just didn't realize it, but yeah, there was no demo available, but the game was, so I picked it up. I've already played it a bit, and it is really neat. It's kind of like an escape room-esque type thing, so there might be limited replayability depending on like how back-to-back you might remember some of the answers, but there's 8 different levels, and the cards can get mixed up, so overall, so far, I haven't played it too much, but I seem to like it. Number 2 on my list of games to demo was Galactic Cruise, and I had written down a booth number, but apparently they were only there a little bit of the time, but surprisingly, one of the main designers, TK King, reached out to me after I posted my last video and helped me set up a demo so I could actually go and play the game in the open gaming room in one of the hotels. So I got to do that, and that was a ton of fun. The game, the art is prototype on the board, but the box is done. The box looks great. And yeah, we got a pretty lengthy rules explanation because there's a decent amount going on. And then we got to play, it was me and like 2 other people. We got to play like a round or 2, and then we were only supposed to be there for an hour, but then the demo went into their lunch. So they're like, you know, we're going to eat, but if you want to keep playing, feel free to, which we only got a chance to play like a round or 2. So it's nice being able to play more. And I'm really excited for Galactic Cruise. I think it's such a cool game where you're launching different rockets. I was definitely a little confused at first, still trying to get an idea of like what's going on, but I was slowly picking it up. I launched my rocket and at least completed one kind of circuit or whatever you want to call it, flight course. I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, I'm excited for Galactic Cruise. And finally, my #1 game I was anticipating to demo was Dead Cells, and guess what? I was not able to demo it. I was barely able to look at it. I should have posted some of the video earlier that I talked about that, yeah, there was just this glass case at the Hache Scorpion Mask booth, and there was no demo going on. They did have some of the prototypes available to look at, which was cool, but there wasn't really much more than that, so that was kind of disappointing. Then on my top 10 games to buy, number 10 was Express Route. I did get a chance to actually sit down and demo this game. It was pretty fun. Might be a game I pick up someday, but I wasn't too blown away by the demo, so I decided not to pick it up. But I mean, overall, it seemed like a cool concept, but there's only so many games I wanted to grab at Gen Con, so that one I just kind of passed on. Next was Vengeance Roll and Fight. It was there at the booth. There wasn't any demo going on. I kind of passed on picking this up mainly because it's already out, so it's not like a Gen Con exclusive, and though it is one I do want to try at some point, I especially like the idea that it's like real time and just a roll and fight sounds cool, but wasn't one I picked up. Number 8 on my list was Beacon Patrol. This was another game that I went by the booth. It wasn't demoing at the booth, at least when I went there, and they have extra rooms off to the side that it might have been demoing at, but I never got a chance to demo it, so I didn't really pick it up. I looked at the box and I didn't really learn too much more about the game. While it does look nice and it's a small box that has great artwork, I just ended up not picking it up. So that was Beacon Patrol. Next was number 7, Expeditions. This game it was set up, so I don't know if there was a playable demo, but they definitely had a demo set up that they would kind of walk you through how it works. I didn't pick this up. I did a bit of research before the con because there was a link available to actually pre-order it, so you could just pick it up at the convention. So I was like, well, maybe I want to do that. So I started doing more research on the game. And ultimately, I didn't pick it up, mainly because I've played a little bit of Scythe, wasn't a huge fan of it. I've heard this great game is good for solo, which is probably how I would play it, but ultimately, it came down to the price tag. It's an $85 game, which is expensive for a board game, especially compared to these other ones. I could easily get 2 to 3 other games for that price tag. So I might just wait on it, see what other people say about the solo mode, maybe wait for there to be a sale or something, or I don't know, but I did pass on Expeditions. Next on my list was Clever Forever, the new Ganshan Clever game. I took a look at it, and I don't think it was set up to demo, I didn't see it anywhere, but this was one game I passed on getting because, once again, it is already out as far as I'm aware, so I could pick it up online right now, so though it was available there, I didn't end up getting it. Next was Sky Team, and this game was my number 5 game that I was looking forward to buy. And luckily, the Scorpion Mask actually had a thing on their site, so you could pre-order games and then just pick them up at one of their side rooms. So I had already pre-ordered Sky Team and Decrypto, the 5th anniversary edition. So before I even left to go to the convention, I already had them ordered and ready to go. So that was a really nice service that they provided. So Sky Team, I was able to grab, and I've already played it a couple of times, and it's probably my favorite game that I've picked up from the convention. It is so cool. I haven't even started, there's like a bunch of extra modules and stuff. I haven't even started to dig into that stuff yet, but it seems like it's such a cool concept. It's pretty easy to play once you kind of get the hang of it. And yeah, I'm a big fan, so I'm glad I was able to get that. Number 4 on my games to guess was The Search for the Lost Species. More like The Search for the Lost Game, because it didn't exist. I went there Thursday, not right in the morning, but pretty early in the day. Like I would say before noon, maybe like 11 or maybe right around noon. It was gone. They said they only brought 100 copies for the whole convention, and for some reason, they only brought 100, and for some reason, they decided to sell them all on the first day instead of like partitioning them out per day or something like that. So yeah, it was gone before I even got there. Didn't even get a chance to play it or try it. So that was kind of a bummer. They gave me a little pamphlet. They're like, you can order it online and get it shipped to you. And I was like, well, that's great, but I kind of wanted to pick it up and try it now, or at least I was hoping to like demo it or something. No, nothing. So I was kind of annoyed by that, but like, whatever. Number 3 on my list was Inside Job. This was available to demo and buy. I'm pretty sure it sold out sometime during the con, I think like Friday or Saturday. I briefly watched it demoed. I didn't play along in any hands or anything. Ultimately, I passed on getting this mainly because it's already available. So if I want to get it at some point, I could just go get it online. Number 2 on my list was Next Station Tokyo. And this is another game where like Search for the Lost Species just didn't exist by the time I got there on Thursday. You know, that's pretty much the first day. I mean, Wednesday is kind of a weird day from what I've heard, but Thursday I went there once again, kind of around noon, pretty early in the day still. Nope, all copies are gone, and that's all they brought, and they're not like once again like portioning them out, so like 25 a day here and 25 for this day. They're like, nope, all is gone, so I didn't even have a chance to get it, and that was pretty disappointing. I don't know why these companies only brought such limited quantities of these games that are just coming out, and especially I don't understand why they're not like kind of portioning them per day. That just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, but whatever, didn't pick it up. And then finally, my number 1 game that I was anticipating to get was Decrypto, the 5th anniversary edition, which I already kind of talked about. I was able to pick up because the Scorpion Mask had the really nice website that you could pre-order at their room, so I just went there. I think it was sometime Thursday, just on my own time after I struck out on getting Search for Lost Species and the Tokyo. And I just went by the booth, grabbed Sky Team, grabbed Decrypto. Super simple. So that was awesome. And yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I'm looking forward to giving Decrypto a shot. And that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, a like would be greatly appreciated. And until next time, I'll see ya.